Wow, the NXT Women's Division was a single match, a fatal 4-way, and a 6-woman tag. The first 3 matches. 3 back-to-back matches. That's nice. Roxanne does deserve her flowers. I don't care what anybody says. Deserves her flowers. Shit. So apparently, if you watch the replay of Seth giving Punk the GTS last night, he catches him flush in the forehead. Punk's promo after he lost, after he won, was really good too. The shout out for Chris Bay was nice too. Yeah, you dumbest. Wasn't gonna go that far, but I mean, you're right. No.
Welcome everyone to Kicking Out of 2, where you can hear the name of our podcast at least 30 times at a WWE pay-per-view.
Or on Netflix last night.
Yep.
Thank you, Michael Cole, for the repeated pimping of our show.
As always, I am Michael. With me is my auditory and visual tag team partner, Tori. Tori, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing good. I am hung over from Raw. It's a really good show. Makes me kind of trepidatious about what's going to happen in the future. But that's what we're here to talk about. So I have some talking points, and after we're done with the talking points, if there's anything you want to talk about specifically about it, or if you join us on the stream and you have any questions or anything that were your favorite parts, definitely post them in chat. We can talk about them. So first of all, it was the first one on Netflix. I think the initial concern, obviously, was that we were going to have a Paul Tyson situation, and that we were going to end up, having to buffer or load while doing it. They actually did really good. So I was very pleasantly surprised. There was no real issues that I saw with the broadcast. Did you see anything?
I didn't have anything. It ran smoothly.
That was awesome. So just kind of give a little feedback for people that may not know it. So WWE Raw has moved over to Netflix. It's a significant shift from the traditional television to a streaming platform. It's part of a 10-year deal worth over $5 billion. Good freaking Lord.
10 years?
10-year deal, over $5 billion.
Billion with the B?
Billion with the B. And you could tell because the graphics, the new stuff, I don't
everything was new. I liked the smaller set. I thought it with the smaller entrance.
Yes.
I thought it was much better than what if they'd have done it with a regular stage.
Absolutely. The smaller set was really good. And they started steering more toward the smaller sets toward the end of last year. And I think they realized it was better because, one, you can get more people in the building. So that's always better. And it's probably easier to set up because, like, the one that they had last night, like, if you looked at it, it was like 4 or 5 really big LED screens, and that was it. Like, that was the entire setup. To me, it also felt good. Like, it's nostalgic. We had it with Saturday night's main event when they did it, but having that narrow entranceway where they're closer to the crowd as they're walking
Yeah.
through, that's a nice touch. That's, to me, that's something I always missed, is once they made that really large aisleway, it gets them further from the fans, and they got to do that like bounce back and forth business. Like, it was really nice to see that. And yeah, everything was new. What did you think of the new mat? That's a big point of contention
It's
for a lot of
different.
people.
It doesn't say Prime, so I'm happy about that.
Apparently, I was looking into that. Apparently, that agreement is specifically for PLEs. So on PLEs, we'll still see the Prime logo, but it was not for television or streaming purposes.
I didn't hate it. I don't. It's different. I mean, it's different, and that's always.
And that's
Wrestling
okay.
fans are very fickle about their different.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was bad.
No, I mean, some of the things that were on there caused me to question a little bit. Like, obviously, like, Hogan's beer was in one corner. Having Fortnite proud in the middle, which, as a podcast who plays Fortnite once in a while, that's cool. But are y'all doing a partnership with Fortnite now? Is that a thing? Like, are we going to see like a WWE mode at some point? Like, that's something that's kind of got me thinking a little bit. But like the biggest thing is everybody's like, well, they got these ads all over the mat and da da da. Like 10 minutes in the show, I didn't notice them. Like,
I didn't either.
If you notice the ads on the mat, then the wrestling's not good. It has nothing to do with this show and the mat being distracting. It's that the show's not good.
It's different. I mean, but the refs look different. But there was a lot of different.
Love the new ref shirt.
Not in a bad way. It's just different.
I know the purists probably want the stripes back. I loved the new look. It was modern. It was sleek. And to me, that's kind of how the mat looked too, because the mat was black and it had the logos on it, but the logos were all single colored. It wasn't like all the colors in the rainbow or anything. Which led to the sides of the ring, which were also black, with like red accent. So it was very sleek and very well designed. So it wasn't outlandish. It wasn't something that just stood out. The ring has become just a mat instead of something that's part of the match. So I'm okay with that. We got the drones back instead of some of the pyro. I don't know exactly how I feel about that, but
they had some of the pyro, but
they did. The one thing I do like is I do like the new drone camera.
I did too.
That
Grace and I were talking about that. I'm like, that's pretty fantastic. Actually,
that tripped me out a couple of times. I really loved when they did it during Jay's entrance, because it did, like, it flowed from the entranceway all the way around. We caught Michael Cole doing something. He says he was yeeting. It looks like he was trying to fly away to me.
I thought he was too.
I thought he was having a heart attack at one point.
I did find the Travis Scott thing funny. Triple H mentioned it after the show.
Yeah, we'll get to the Travis Scott thing. But yeah, that was definitely a very interesting and fun moment. So we started the night, Triple H out there doing his normal thing. One of the best talkers in the business. You can't tell me any different. And even more so now that he's seasoned and aged and knows how this works. Got out there telling everybody like where we came from, that WWE has changed television when it first started, because originally it was just on closed circuit TV. Then we became national with cable TV. pay-per-views
I'm still eating
became
dinner,
a
but keep
thing.
going.
What's that?
I'm still eating dinner. Keep going.
That's fine. We got, we went from closed circuit theaters for pay-per-views to being in everybody's home for pay-per-views, from pay-per-views to PLEs. Now we're moving into a whole new genre of being part of a streaming network. Which he's right. Like it's so much has changed in TV because of wrestling. And I don't think wrestling gets its flowers enough for how much it's changed how things work on television. But then, so to go back to the mat, though, then they borrow, though, the things that work. How much money like, I'm not even going to guess how much money they're getting paid to have Fortnite loud and proud in the middle of that match.
Oh, there was a ton of advertising on that.
Yeah. Which some of them I know were probably like just grandfathered little things. Like you had Hogan's beer on there. I'm sure that was more of a handshake deal between them. Yeah, I've heard it's basically a very trashy IPA. I will not be trying it. But
I don't know. I mean, after last night, I don't think anybody gonna be trying.
No. But like,
Could not have happened to a worse person. I was so happy about it.
But they borrowed that from boxing and from MMA because they make good money on that, and people don't notice the things on the mat once the night gets going. So they borrow stuff from there. They borrow little things from everywhere and make it even better. So, so then he ended it with the famous line, "Are you ready?" Of course, everybody lost their damn minds. We got a nice shot of the arena at that point. I kind of wondered at some point if the lights were supposed to come up, though, before that moment, because they kept panning out to the crowd when he was saying some things, but it just had the spotlight at him and everywhere else was black. So I'm like, are we supposed to have the lights up at this point?
I will say, and I don't know if it was just for that arena, if it's how their scoreboard, but the circular signs above,
Yeah,
I was a big fan of that.
that was cool. People were not fans of the lights that were underneath it, just FYI. There was plenty
Oh, I'm
tweets
sure.
of people that were like tweeting straight to Triple H of like, "Hey, can you turn these lights off, please? We can't see." A couple of the pictures I saw, like it's those lights were just bright to the people at the upper deck. But so he walks out, and then we kind of start the official show. The official show started with The Rock coming out. They trimmed his entrance music a little bit, the beginning of it, and I'm glad they did because I think it was a bit of overload the first time he did it, of just like it was 5 minutes of lightning and thunder and cracking, and let's just get to it. Let's go. But
I felt like let's get to it, and I get it. We didn't need all that.
no. I get that he's trying to portray this final boss character, and so that seems very like I'm more important than everybody here, and that's kind of what he was trying to portray. But it was a bit much. I think this was concise. It was tight. It was very good. The entrance with the slim entryway, with the little bit of opening in between the LED boards, looked fantastic. Though he gets down to the ring, and he's just The Rock being The Rock. He talks to the execs of Netflix that are up in the top, basically telling them like, look, I'm going to look over this contract. And it's not what I think it is. I'm going to have to whoop one of y'all's asses too. They're loving it. They're loving the fact that they're being part of the show, being part of the banter. He thanks Cody Rhodes, which starts the first step of the confusing night, because all of a sudden they're just like, hold on, wait. Thank you, Cody, for carrying it for the last year. The last time you were here, you were whooping his ass in front of his own bus. Like, Jesus Christ. What the hell?
And you were talking shit about him to his mom's. Like, this...
Whipping
it
him
didn't
the
make
belt,
any
calling
sense.
you boy. I mean, damn.
Yeah, that was so dumb.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know where that's going. I have an idea, but we'll talk about it in the next bit here, because we'll talk about the tribal combat match and how that went. But so yeah, he talks about that. Talks about some stuff coming down the road as far as like he thinks that things are gonna be in the stratosphere for WWE for years to come because of what they're doing with Netflix. He says finally WWE has come back to Netflix, which doesn't make any damn sense because they've never been on Netflix. So I don't know how that made any sense.
I didn't understand. See, again, why?
But then we got like an inkling of what we were to look forward to later when it comes to things not being censored like they were. Because then he said, no. I know. You guys don't want that bullshit. You want the real one. Finally, WWE has come back home. Or wherever,
Come back to Los Angeles.
Come back to Los Angeles, though. So it was a nice entryway into it. It's weird because the last time he was there, he was a dastardly heel, and I think that's what we all expected him to come back as. So, I don't know. We'll see where that goes. First match of the night, though, which kind of surprised me. I didn't expect this to be the first match, but
I don't feel like you could have put any other match here, and then put this after it.
Yeah, maybe. It's just, I don't know. Like, this has been the story for years now. I was surprised to see it start the show, but I'm sure there was a reason why we put it that place. I'm sure there's a reason why it was there. And then again, like, it sandwiches the show. You have a very important storyline match to start with. You have a very big storyline match to end the night with. Maybe that's what we're thinking to kind of sandwich the show a little bit. But Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa had their match for the Ulafala, Ofalufa, Umpalupa, whatever we want to call it. And it was, I think, exactly what we thought it was going to be. It was a Bloodline Rules match, so we knew that the Bloodline was going to be part of it. Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu coming out there first.
Did you catch Fatu's audible he had to call because his foot got caught? So after that first table got broken, when he came in, he was supposed to, you could tell he was supposed to super kick Roman. But he got caught up in that plastic piece that goes around the edge of a table.
Okay.
So he reached up and just punched him. Once he got out, he got to the other side and hit the super kick.
Nice.
Like, called the audible. It was perfect.
One of the many reasons why at some point he is going to be someone to be reckoned with when he gets to that point.
Yes.
He's too smart. He's too good. But so they come out. They lay out Roman Reigns. He kicks out of some stuff. He kicks out of the spike. Then Sammy and Jimmy come out, which was a little weird. We talked about it a little bit before the show. You mentioned, well, Jay had his match later, and that does make sense to me. It's just still weird that Jay was such a pivotal part of this story, and we don't have him there for the ending. That just seems weird.
I don't think that this is the ending. If it is, where do you go from here with anyone involved in this?
That's my problem with it. Which then again, I mean, we have said that every single time that they've ended the story of where could they possibly go from here? And then we turn around in the next week and we're right back into it going, oh my God, this is the greatest stuff I've ever seen. But we didn't get any new people popping in, which I kind of agree with, to be honest. I've seen some people complain that's like, well, we didn't bring in Zilla, we didn't bring in Hikuleo.
If we're not done with this, that makes sense.
Well, it makes sense for that, but it also makes sense to me. Like, this is your first opportunity to show your product to such a large audience. Why would you bring anything new into it yet? Because they're not going to see the impact of that. Because they're new to all this anyway. So they're like, all right, well, who's this other guy that's showing up now? So they're not going to get the impact of that. So give that a couple of weeks. I think we'll see that again. I don't think it's done. I don't know where to go. Hey, Brett, how you doing? Welcome. We're just talking over Monday Night Raw. We just got through talking about the Tribal Combat match. But yeah, so Roman Reigns ends up getting it. They lay the Ulafala on him. He looks very, very happy. And then at that point, before they lay it on him, The Rock comes out. And we have a moment that I think we all probably thought the camera's sitting on him way too damn long. Because every time, like, I was waiting, like, something's going to happen, right? Something's got to happen. Okay.
Nice. I really thought Paul was either going to put it, when he handed it to The Rock, I thought The Rock was going to act like he was putting it on Roman and put it on himself.
Yeah. Or, like, I don't know, just the camera was on Roman for way too long. And so I'm like, all right, so he's going to hit him from behind, or Jacob's going to come in and be more violent because now his tribal chief has been overtaken. Like, something was going to happen, and then nothing happened. The only thing that really happened is, so you have a moment where Roman and Rock are hugging, and Rock is just kind of stone-faced. And so I don't know if that's setting up something for the future of, like, there's still tension there. Are we talking about that being the match again instead of it being Rock Cody, with him making up with Cody apparently, and then having drinks later that night? But yeah, we'll just have to see where that saga goes. I mean, it's been the ongoing storyline for years. And every time you ask them about it, we're always in like the third inning, the fifth inning, the sixth inning. I don't know where we are now. They were in the seventh inning stretch, and that's why there's a lull right now. I don't know, but we shall see.
I felt like this was almost stuff like this match should have been Mania.
Possibly. But how do we hold this on till Mania at this point?
Oh, I'm not saying getting it there would have been easy, but
like, we talk about how we could book things better, but I don't think I could book this out to Mania at this point with what we currently have. It would have to start being like, all right, we're throwing Zilla in there. We're gonna get we're gonna go ahead and get Rikishi in, have him stink face somebody, start doing something. And then he'll complain because the stink face didn't get over. Stink face should have had the IC title already. No? Okay.
No, I'm not.
So then we get John Cena. He comes out.
I felt like this went way longer than it should have too, and nobody interrupted.
I was fine with how long it went and nobody interrupted. I was not fine with how long it went to get us to the point of where we thought we were going to go anyway. It took a long time to say, I'm in the Rumble. That took way too long to tell. I do want to say, though, loved the new duds, though. Like, I know he always comes out as just a reskin of his normal gear, but that blue was beautiful.
Well, and what it said. I mean, I thought it was very fitting.
Farewell tour. It had like the baseball jersey font saying his name. Like, it was a really good looking shirt. I haven't gotten John Cena shirts. I might get this one just because it does look really cool. But he comes out there, he's reminiscing, he's talking about how, like, WWE's allowing him to come out in the jorts one more time, get this done. A lot of speculation on who his last match is going to be, who his Mania match is going to be. They've said names like Logan Paul. Everybody boos. He says Cody Rhodes. Everybody cheers. Says Gunther. It's kind of a mixed reaction.
Right.
Which apparently Brooks Jensen, by the way, actually did a tweet or a TikTok, one of the two. I saw the video on Twitter, but he could have done it on TikTok, saying he said a lot of names, but he didn't say his. So he'll see him later. So I don't know what that's about. But I don't know. I think I wouldn't mind Brooks Jensen not being the final match, but maybe helping Brooks.
I definitely think this is where you could bring him through NXT for a minute.
Yeah.
Even if they lose, just being in the ring with him.
Oh yeah. He'll need to do a quick run through NXT just to see some of the younger kids and be part of that for a little bit. Brett, he said it's till December. He said December, whatever the last thing is in December, he's done. So it's this year is his last year. Everything that he does this year is the last time he's doing it.
I disagree. I don't think it needs to be Randy. I think that match needs to happen. I don't think his final match needs to be Randy.
Well, and one of the names he said that like people are saying is CM Punk. Of course, everybody lost their shit when he said CM Punk. I think that's in the same vein. I don't think CM Punk should be the last match. I think CM Punk match has to happen though. You have to do that one more time at some point.
Yeah.
And Randy is very similar. His final match, like if we're talking his final match in December, to me that has to be someone that we're passing it to. I wouldn't mind if Randy was his Mania match. I think that would be cool. But I think they're playing with the idea of him getting that record-breaking win. So I'm pretty sure he's going to face whoever the world heavyweight champion is at the time. Because I still don't see Cody losing at any time, and I don't see him losing John Cena either.
And that's a fair point, Brett.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but I don't want that to be his last match.
Yeah.
His last match should be to get somebody over.
Yeah.
Or give them a bigger rub that is going to help them long run.
Now, I also want to clarify, though, I don't necessarily think it needs to be like an NXT kid. I don't think it needs to be like a Braun Breaker. Honestly, like if Baron Corbin was still there, I think Baron Corbin would be a good like build up to that last match to make Baron Corbin push to the echelon that he should have been in. But we kind of kept giving him chicken shit and making him make chicken salad out of it. So, but someone in that vein of like they just haven't hit that cusp yet, or maybe at some point, because I mean I feel like they re-signed him with the thought of he would be a bigger player at some point. Maybe we get a Chad Gable and we redo the Ruthless Aggression thing, but do we do it opposite? Of like his final match, he's like, whoever wants it, who wants it? And Chad Gable comes out there with the Ruthless Aggression idea. I think that'd be good too. Bronson Reed, I would be perfectly fine with that one too. Big Bronson.
That would be a great final match.
Yeah.
Even if Bronson Reed takes that L, it's going to be huge for him.
Yeah, for sure. That little bit of test of strength to get him up in an FU like that would be awesome. Oh, I forgot. We sailed right past it, but I forgot. But we got our second test of what they're going to blur or not blur, because we're on Netflix now, in the Tribal Combat match. So when Solo came out, there was very prominent "fuck you Solo" chants that were deafening. They were deafening just in my ears. A friend of the show on our Twitter was there, and he replied to my tweet talking about it. And he said he was like, they are like, it's insane in here. It's so loud. So they weren't piping that one in. It was just like loud fans just yelling "fuck you Solo." But the thing about that is they didn't bleep it at all. You heard the entire thing. Now they did bleep some things that The Rock said, so I'm wondering if they're going to be laxed on what the fans are doing. We're going to ignore that. Still bleep the things.
It's the fans. I mean, you can only control the fans to an extent.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe they're looking
if
at
you know,
if the fans say it, then it's not part of our show, so we can kind of skirt that a little bit.
If you know The Rock's going to say something and you're worried about it, okay, you can do that. But the fans, no, should be fair game.
Yeah. Brett, that's a perfect way to say that. I agree. Top monster defeats the superhero.
Yep.
That would be exactly what that would be. So anyway, all right. So to skip back ahead, so then we had the Women's World Championship match, Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. I love these two women. I don't want to act like I don't. I'm so glad that this seems to be done. Rhea Ripley,
it needs to be.
And Damien even did a little thing at the end of the night, and they said, "We're done with Judgment Day. There is no more Judgment Day stuff." So as long as we're doing that, I'm glad, because I think this needs to be done. And it's no fault of theirs. I mean, there was injury after injury that kept dragging this along. This probably should have ended 6 months ago, but it was out of their hands. But I'm glad to see we are done with it. What do you think?
I agree completely. I love me some Liv Morgan, as we know. I have her saying tattooed on my shoulder.
Still need to get
But this went on way longer than it should have.
that. Yeah. It was a really good match though. It was weird, but I understand the booking that we didn't have more Judgment Day appearance happening. But I understood it because we just had the schmoz with the Bloodline match and all them coming out. It would have been really weird for the next match of the night to also do that. So I kind of get that. But it was a good match. They have good chemistry. We finished the night, though, with Liv actually kicking out of a Riptide, which I think is the first time, and they didn't say it on commentary, but I think it's the first time anybody's kicked out of Riptide. Unless you can think of
I think you're
else.
right. I can't off the top of my head. I'm not going to say it hasn't been done, but I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. If it has, it's been Raquel. It's been Nia. Somebody big.
Yeah. I don't think it has, but I could be wrong. Someone correct me absolutely if I'm wrong. But so when she kicks out of that one, she hits her up for 2 more later on in the match. That second one looks like it put her through the damn ring. But we end with that famous Rhea Ripley pin. 1, 2, 3. She has her title back. Dom tries to sneak into the ring and gets caught almost immediately. And of course, it's kind of taking from his family and saying, no, hug, come on, like, come on, we're fine. And she seems like she's playing along. She puts the belt down, and then gives him like an old school in the schoolyard kick in the nards, and then
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
And then a riptide of his own. Good to see her finally get her hands on him. That's why I'm thinking we're probably done with this, because as much as getting the title back was the end of this story, her finally getting her hands on Dom, to me, was just as big of a prize to get the payback for everything that's happened. So I think we're done with it. I hope we're done with it. Mommy is our new champ. So we get a little surprise during this match, though, towards the end of it. Mommy takes her belt. She's walking up the aisle. And then we just hear bong, that old familiar bell. And then we hear the American Badasses theme song. And not the WWE made one. We get rolling. And so he comes out. He does a lap around. Parks up next to her. They both do the fist in the air. He rides off into the sunset and she walks away. Now, this is one of those things that it seems like fans are torn on of what they think about this. What do you think?
Personal feelings aside, for what it was, I was fine with it. Showed up, didn't say anything, did that little thing, he was gone. Cool.
You didn't think he stole
That's
her
about
thunder,
all.
or
Not at all. Not at all. I thought it was a good run.
I think it was.
If he never comes back and that's the last thing he did, and I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I'm saying if it is, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's a perfect ride off to the sunset. Now, if you want to have some fun and she's still in shape for it, Rhea needs to challenge Michelle McCool.
That would be cool.
Yes.
We can't do this on the stream. We're quasi-family friendly.
Just out here being a hoe.
Whatever.
Use a hoe.
He said, what do you mean? So.
Use a hoe.
So, I'm not a fan personally.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a problem with it. I felt like he got cheered mostly, which is fine.
Mm-hmm. Which, don't go too far into that part of it, because we're obviously going to bring that back up here shortly to compare what happens later in the night.
Yeah.
I agree, and I specifically had not talked to you about what you thought of him and if it was taking over her spot, because I wanted to get your actual reaction before I said anything to see if this is one of those moments where we disagreed. But no, we totally agree on this. Especially the look on her face. Like, these people are
She was
actors and
excited
they're
about it.
wonderful actors, but she heard that dong, and I almost think that she didn't know it was happening. Because
I
that
wondered
dong
about
happened,
that.
she just went, ooh. Like, oh
And
my
she
God.
said, I think she said, I didn't know this was coming.
Yeah.
Or I didn't know he was here or something.
Well, she knew he
Which
was
I
there
had
because
read
they
somewhere
ruined
he
that
was.
before the night even started.
Yeah.
But as far as if he was coming at that point, I don't know if she knew or not. It was a nice little moment. She was talking about she needed to shine up the belt for him, and so she's like, shining up the belt and everything. It was a nice little moment. We also got a camera dipped into the box upstairs, and you got to see a bunch of the people there. You had the party girls. You had
Byron
Maxine.
Saxton.
Byron Saxton was there.
Maxine and Otis, one or the other wasn't there.
Yeah. I think it was Tozawa was there, but Otis wasn't, if I remember right.
That's what it was.
But then they panned a little more to the right, and you just see New Day standing there, just like, what? Like
I absolutely love what they're doing with them.
Yeah. They're just back there like,
okay,
I don't care what's going on, whatever.
So since we're talking about them showing that, obviously they showed a ton of celebrities.
Yes.
Can we talk about the pop of the night, which may have been the actual pop of the night for Macaulay Culkin?
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, don't get me wrong, Macaulay Culkin is beloved right now, and that's just because, like, to coin our own phrase, he kicked out of a lot. Like, he very much he was into drugs. Like, he looked very sickly for a while. Kicked out of all of that, and he's doing great. He's looking great. But yeah, like, I don't know. I don't understand why, but the crowd, just like when they saw him, was just like, "Oh my God, it's Macaulay Culkin!"
And it wasn't just seeing him; it was the hat down with the popping it, like the whole thing. I'm like, do we need him backstage, like doing interviews?
I don't know. It was nice though. Like, we saw
he
him.
might have actually been pop of the night.
We saw Seth Green. We saw.
He looks terrible.
We saw Topanga, and I felt so bad because you have Will Friedle sitting right next.
Are they together?
No, they do a podcast together.
Okay.
Them and Ryder, who played Sean, all three of them do a podcast together. Apparently Ben did not want to be part of it. I don't know if there was
his loss
heat around that or not, but anyway, so those two were there. They did have a lower third for Topanga, but Miss Danielle, but they did not have one for Will, and that makes me so sad because he was one of the most entertaining parts of that show. Were you a fan of the show? Did you watch Boy Meets World at all? Okay, so
I watched some of Girl Meets World too.
I'm currently rewatching that. I'm like 6 episodes in because that was also really good. But he was one of those in the show that I don't think, until they got towards the end, like when they got into college and all that, I don't think they really understood what his character was going to be. And so in one episode, he's goofy, he's crazy. In the next one, he's supposed to be like the sexy dude. And then the next one, he's serious. And he played them all fabulously. Like, he was great at all of it. He literally could do it all. I'm really surprised he didn't do more after that. Plus, he's my Batman Beyond. And so if we ever redo that show, he needs to be the voice again because he is Batman Beyond.
He was the voice of the young kid in Batman Beyond?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep. And so if they do that, I think that needs to be him. There's no reason why not. He was so good at it. But yeah, as well as some of the wonderful celebrities there were, though, we also had in the crowd a lot of WWE talent. I didn't understand that. I understand taking the seats up front for celebrities and have them rotate out and all that stuff. I get that. But like, we had your WWE champ, WWE tag champs right there in the front row. We had LA Knight in the front row. We had your brand new women's champ in the front row. It was just weird. Like, this is Netflix, this is Raw, this is the first night, and some of your biggest talent you're just having in the crowd instead of at least backstage doing something. But that's neither here nor there. You mentioned before the stream, even like where you are and you don't have LA Knight at least say something on a mic.
You don't have him say something. You don't have him do his LA Knight catchphrase. Nothing.
Yeah, it was weird to
Makes
make
no
that decision.
sense.
But again, like, we're just trying to do a tight show. I kind of get that. So hopefully that's all it was, and we won't see that too often. Then a little kind of a twofer. We get a more clear image of this symbol that keeps popping up week after week. Last week it cleared up a little bit more. We already knew who it was. It's always been who we thought it was. But this one, very clear, is the Penta symbol, his mask and whole 9 yards. So we find out it is going to be him, and he's going to be there next week. Then later we do a backstage segment with Bailey Giggity talking to Adam
First
Pearce.
of all, they had said he was going to be there this week.
Did they?
Yes.
Oh, see, I didn't
They
know
made a
that.
big deal about him debuting on Netflix.
Well, he will.
And then you do
Next
4 matches. They made a big deal about it being the first night, and somebody called people out on it on Twitter, and she got ripped apart for it. And I'm like, but she's not wrong.
Yeah. Brett, I don't know if it was a disappointment per se. I think from what I'm seeing online, it's about an 80-20. There is a smaller group of people that didn't like the debut for different reasons. We only had the 4 matches. We didn't have a lot of I don't know, story progression, I guess, on a lot of stuff other than like the 4 main things. But I do feel like the booking of this night was more for the non-casual fan. That's not.
It was.
It was more booked for the non-fan rather, because now we're no longer just on cable. We're on Netflix, and they can like, what was it? I want to say it was the Tyson fight. I was listening to a podcast, and the Machine. You know what I'm talking about? The comedian who talked about he went to Russia and he was like
Bert Kirshner.
Yeah, on his podcast they were talking about it, and one of his co-hosts said like he was sitting next to a Netflix exec during the Tyson fight, and like he was looking at his iPad, and he was like, right now we have 70 billion people watching, and then like 30 minutes for the fight. All right, now we have, or no, it was millions, excuse me. We have like 70 million watching right now. Like 10 minutes before the fight. Now it's 95 million. Fight started. We have 200 million people watching right now. So just the amount of people that they can reach to around the world, because the app is everywhere.
Yeah.
I think it was booked more for just like show people overall what this show can be.
It was.
And hope that they come back next week. I think the shows will get more involved as we go along. I think this was more of like I don't know, like a low-grade PLE, like a Backlash back in the day or something like that, to just kind of, all right, let's have some really good matches. Let's talk a little bit of story, but let's show the spectacle. So we get to see the fans, the celebrities with the fans. You get to see the high-grade wrestlers who aren't wrestling with the fans. Make it a spectacle. I think that's what a lot of it had to do with. But yeah, so later I was talking about we see Bailey backstage with Adam Pearce. They have a little conversation about something, and she says, "Okay, do your job," and walks away. So apparently something's going to happen with Bailey. We'll see what that is, obviously, in weeks to come. But then he gets interrupted by Chad Gable and his crew, and he's talking about how apparently now he wants to prove he doesn't have a problem with luchadors. I don't why, but is what it is. This was all a setup, though, to find out that next week is probably when Penta's going to debut, because he says, I want the best luchador in the world to face
If
me next week.
if they bring in Rey Mysterio, I'm canceling my Netflix subscription.
It's not going to be. There's no way.
I'm just saying.
This is the perfect way to bring Penta in. If he's like, I want the best luchador in the world to face me next week to prove that I can beat any luchador, and then Penta comes in there and whoops his ass. Perfect way to debut him. There's no way we swerve this and bring him out. I do agree with you. Like, I didn't remember if it was supposed to be this week or not, but I do know, like, we were supposed to have Rey Mysterio tag team with someone to go against Chad and somebody.
Say that again?
If I remember right, it was supposed to be like Chad was saying he was going to be in a tag team match against Ray and someone of his choosing, and don't bring like any of your LWO people. So I think that's what it was supposed to be initially, but it is what it is. But obviously, like, so that's probably what we're going to get is Chad Gable versus Penta next week, which I'm fine with it. That's going to be an amazing match.
Are you watching NXT?
I am not currently, no.
Do you want to know who won the three-way for the world title?
Absolutely.
Oba Femi is your new champ.
Nice.
That's nice.
I mean, Strick's probably coming up at some point.
Oh, 100%.
If not him and Ethan.
So Julie won the title. Oba won the title. Wow.
I think we're about.
Julia's finisher's a Death Valley Driver.
What's that?
Julia's finisher is a Death Valley Driver.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they banned that move for years. Not like officially, but like WWE wouldn't let anybody do it. So to them, it's one of the most dangerous ones in the business. So then we have an unexpected incident. We talked about it a little bit at the very beginning of the show. Travis Scott comes out of the tunnel. And let me paint the picture a little bit here. So he walks out of the tunnel. He's got that beautiful belt. That belt needs to be sold. I will buy that belt. Because that new hardcore title, which is basically just the WWE current title with the like same idea of like it's duct taped together, looks beautiful. And then
In the other hand,
is the fattest doobie I have ever seen, which Pat McAfee tries to pull off and go, he's coming down with Sage. And then he probably could have pulled it off if they could have got Travis to not toke it while he was out there. But then it's almost like he heard Pat McAfee say it was Sage, because just seconds after that, he takes the biggest drag of it. And so then Jay comes in from behind him. We have Jay's entrance and all that. And Travis comes down with Jay. They both go down to commentary desk. Of course, McAfee is just yeeting away.
During commercial, they get up on the table, and I'm like, I know McAfee hit that joint when they were off.
Yep. McAfee's up there yeeting away. You hear Cole say, fuck it. And so then he gets up on the table. He's doing something. He wasn't yeeting. He was flapping his arms like a baby bird. But he was up there trying to do something. It was funny because he tweeted later a picture of his watch. And he has an Apple Watch. So the watch said, I think you've had an unexpected fall. So the watch assumed that he had a medical incident. So good.
That's amazing.
Can't script that shit. But so anyway, they're all yeeting and all that. I will say we'll fast forward real quick to the very end of the night. They have the conference. Triple H is talking about the night. He mentions this. He's like, I want to thank Travis Scott for being there. I also want to thank Jey Uso for
just saying no.
Saying no, because we could have ended up with an entirely different night if he would have partook. So anyway, it was good. It was nice. After that, sadly enough, one of my favorite theme musics ever plays. To one of my least favorite human beings You see Jimmy Hart out there, and he's waving the American flag, and Hogan's coming out behind him. And Hogan gets the Dom treatment, and I could believe it, but I could not believe it. It was so surreal. They booed him so hard.
I was so excited about it. Triple H and Nick Khan are in the house for New Year's Evil.
Okay.
Wow.
Rock's supposed to show up at some point too.
He's there too. He had a backstage with Ethan Page.
Oh. He should have a backstage with his daughter.
He did. She was in it too.
Oh, was she in it too? Okay. Oh, if I could get a Rock versus Ethan Page match, I'd be all right with that.
Pretty solid.
Anyway, all right. So you were so happy.
This literally could not have happened to a worse person. I was so excited about it. I was laughing, sitting here watching this, laughing my ass off because fuck that guy.
Yeah. This is coming from someone who, like, I was the Hulkamaniac, and I've mentioned it on numerous times. Like, I had the workout tape, I had the entrance robe, I had the little dumbbells, I had the big rubber wrestler. I was the quintessential Hulkamaniac when I was a kid. And I have never loved someone so much then and hated someone so much now more than my own father. But good Lord. I honestly thought he was going to have a MAGA Power shirt on underneath that Netflix shirt. I thought that was going to happen.
I am telling you right now, if he comes out in one of those at any point, I will cancel my Netflix and stop watching Raw.
So here's the thing. So the reason I wanted you to hold off on the talk about Undertaker and him getting cheered and all that is because there's some people questioning out there, is it the politics of why he's getting booed? Is it because he's in California and it's mostly a blue state? Is that why he's getting booed? And I'm going to say no, because Taker was cheered. And Taker has been on his podcast and has very bluntly said that he's a Republican. He has hung out with Mayor Kane, who's more of the devil's favorite demon as mayor than he is as the character. Did you like that one?
That's nice.
But Hogan has flat out said that he's a racist. Hogan has said racist things. Hogan has openly said the N-word, talking about someone that was trying to help his daughter, of all things. Because people forget that. Like, she was trying to get into the music industry. And the person who was helping her just happened to be black. And he drops the N-bomb saying, you know, all these N-bombs in here. Like, you're just a trash human being. And it sucks that this guy that was supposed to be like American hero turns out to be that. And we keep giving him a second chance, we being WWE. Like, they keep carting him back out there. And it's just, I don't understand why. I don't understand why we keep shoving him back out there. Trying to see if we can get the same response, I guess. Just isn't going to work. I don't think it is. What about you?
I am really hoping that what happened last night is all they need to not put him on TV anymore. Because there's not a chance that wouldn't have noticed. There's not a chance.
Here's the thing. I don't think it keeps them from bringing him out there, but I think they need to have better foresight of where and when you're doing it. The last thing we saw him do on a grand scale was to be at that Trump rally. Like, that was the last big thing we saw.
I don't know that I want to call that a grand scale. I'm pretty sure NXT had more people there tonight than that was. But
regardless, got a lot of media traffic though because he was there and all that. The other thing is, like, could you have done this in Tampa, Florida, and gotten a huge reaction? Probably. You probably could have done that in Tampa, and like the fans would have cheered him, and it would have been fine. So
I don't know that. Honestly, I don't know that he would. I think you would.
I don't know for sure.
I won't say Tampa, but I definitely think if you'd have gone somewhere less liberal, democratic, whatever you want to call it, right, left, whatever.
I think there would have been less booze. He may have still got some booze, but it wouldn't have been as prominent.
Yeah,
as it was there. But that's just because, like, I don't know. I feel like in those hometown situations, I think they overlook a lot. And to be clear, I do try to say myself every time we get into these conversations, like, wrestling is a weird business because it's a business where you can't separate the character from the person all the time. And it's really hard to do that with him. He's one of those, it's hard to do that separation to me. And so that's where I say, like, I don't think it was the politics that got him booed. It was just because he's not a good human. But then again, politics might have had something to do with it too. But obviously,
I think there may have been a little bit of it. I think it's more he's just a trash human being.
But Taker got cheered there. People loved it, and he's on that same side of the fence. So I don't know. But yeah, it was absolutely. It was a misfire. They trotted him out there to try to get some, like, good cheers out of it, get some good nostalgia out of it. Just did not work at all. Lastly, we had the main event: CM Punk versus Seth freaking Rollins. Good Lord, this match. If you ever needed to wonder if Punk can still do it at his age,
yeah,
this showed a lot.
We main evented with the Heritage Cup. What?
Huh. I mean, they're trying to make Lexus King a big deal.
So, well, they did it because he won, but that was your main event?
He won again?
Okay. Yeah, he won it rightfully this time, I guess.
Okay. Without the shenanigans last time. Which was good. I enjoyed how he won it in the first place. It was a fun little twist on it. But yeah, this showcased, like, very high level athleticism. It was great storytelling during the match. A lot of high impact moves. They did a superplex that I thought killed CM Punk. CM Punk kicked out of the stomp. We got a double GTS, which actually there was a guy on X was very observant that noticed that the sequence of the two go to sleeps was the same sequence he did with Jon Moxley.
Yes, Seth lost, and Seth lost. I'm really interested in what they do with him after this, because what do you do?
Yeah. That was one of the things, like, I tweeted last night. I do think I would have booked Seth to win because I think he needed it. He has lost a lot. And Punk could have lost this, and next week people are still going to be chanting his name. He's still the savior of the masses and all that stuff. Like, he's still CM Punk at the end of the day. With this weird heel, not a heel, not sure what we're doing with Seth, him losing that seems a little weird to me. But I'm going to trust the process. They may have something planned with this. I know they've thought about doing this like 3-headed Hydra thing with him, Drew, and Kevin. So maybe that's what it is that those two come to him later and like, look, you're getting into all this and you're losing because of it. And
Hail Hydra.
what? Bringing him into it and being part of this like 3-man wrecking crew or 3-man main event or 3-man power trip, if you want to think of like the when Stone Cold and Triple H got together and formed the 2-man power trip. Something like that. Maybe that brings him back up. I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to see where they bring him. I personally would have had him win. I think he needed it, but I've also said that I didn't think they knew what they're doing with the Bloodline story, and then the next week they pulled me right back into it. So I'm going to wait and see what they do with it. But yeah, it was a very good match though. Like I can't at all fault them for what they did. The most fun I think I saw in it was we were doing suicide dives out of the ring, kind of like trading those off. They almost ended up into the crowd at one point. The person in the crowd actually had it on their phone, and so they tweeted that out, and I saw that tweet of like they literally like almost like came into his own seat. That was a fun little visual. We did skip past the Jay and Drew match, mainly because I didn't really have anything to say about it. Jay won. It was a sneaky roll-up win. It just means that we're going to have more Drew and Jay stuff.
I was fine with it, though. I mean, even if you have Drew go after Roman, okay. See you, Brad. Thanks for coming by.
Yep.
It was fine. I was fine with it. I just...
Something cool happening, or you see new shiny?
Yeah. Punk, after he hit that last GTS for the win, told the ref to go check on Seth.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. That's...
Yeah. Yeah, because he got that flush. That last GTS was flush.
He took it like a champ, too.
Punk actually referenced it in his interview after the night was done, because they kind of did one of those ringside interviews with him, and then kind of walked to the back with him, and he'd mentioned, or no, this was at the press conference. I apologize. It was at the press conference. They said, like, what do you hope happens with Rollins after this? And he said, well, I hope he goes tonight dreaming of me putting a knee in his face. So it's good to see that he cared about his well-being. It's also good that they can still play off that and go like, look, I whooped his ass.
Yeah.
There are some subtle things that people have pointed out with Punk. The jacket he wore was the same jacket he wore when he had the fight with Jungle Boy. I don't know if that was a reference or not. It does seem like maybe it was just happenstance. It just happened to be what he wore that night. People are saying it's like, well, no, he was wearing it because it was a reference, and he was saying he's ready for a fight. Or it's just the gear he grabbed.
Or he's just trolling.
Yeah, like it is what it is. But yeah, the Drew Jay match, like it just showed to me that they don't have a plan to bring Drew to Roman quite yet.
No.
Because obviously Drew's doing this like, I'm gonna kill the bloodline thing. He's the was it they had the Bullet Club Hunter in New Japan, and so he's kind of like being the bloodline hunter here. That type of idea. Eventually, he's gonna get to Roman. This obviously was all right. Well, no, let's have Jay get the quick win. That way we can keep that going. He can get to Roman later.
So we gotta talk about WWE's big announcement for the 2026 Royal Rumble. Did you not see it?
Are you talking about where it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we do that, because we can hate on that all day. A couple of things that we had announced during the night. So when Roman won his match, him and Paul were walking backstage talking about, like, well, what are we going to do now? What's the next plan? And then they walk through a door and close it, and on the door is WWE 2K25. We find out later that meant he was going to be our cover star. So Roman's going to be the cover star of this next version of the game. He also talked about a
Totally
date.
justified. Totally
Totally
justified.
He also threw out a date, which we found out later was apparently when we're going to start getting some information on it. So I think it was January 26th, I think. Something like that is so we're going to start seeing probably some big stuff happen then. But then Xbox apparently decided that they were going to throw out some screenshots of it that are already out. And so there was a screenshot of Liv Morgan, looked absolutely beautiful. There was a screenshot of Cody, and this year Cody actually looks like Cody, not like, Wish.com Cody.
He did not look right on the last one.
No, his face was all smushed and looked like they tried to put Dustin and Cody's face together. But a couple of pictures. There was one of Damien that looked like Damien. Like it looked like it was not in a video game. It looked like it was him walking down an aisle. That one was really good. They've mentioned that there's going to be some new stuff to the game. They've mentioned that there's going to be some enhanced stuff in the game. Not anything specific yet, but that they are working on it. We'll hear some stuff probably later this month, which will be cool to hear.
What they need to put on it is cross-platform, like playing together. Like they need to fix that mess.
That's right. We need content, damn it.
Right? Haters.
But then if they do that, that's more work for me, because then I got to figure out a way to show your screen and my screen while we're streaming. Damn it, I just figured that out in my head. God dang it.
What?
I just, literally I say that, and then I immediately figured out how that would work. So I already know how that would work to show your screen and my screen on the stream at the same time. Which is why I'm the brains and you're the talent.
Mm-hmm. Let's show up.
But yeah, and so then we did find out in John Cena's promo that he has put himself in the Royal Rumble, because apparently you can just say that, like, I'm in the Royal Rumble, and then that's how it happens. So he said it. Punk said it later in the night, so him and Punk are both going to be in the Rumble. Before we talk about that announcement that you're talking about, do you think there's a chance that Cena wins the Rumble?
No.
No?
But I do think whoever throws him out sets up his match for Mania, and I think it's Punk.
Okay.
I think Cena, as much as it's his farewell tour, I think he's going to do a lot of jobs.
Oh, I'm sure he's going to do a lot of jobs. My thought is, I think that's the only way he gets a shot at a title. And so if we're going to give him the 17th run,
I could 100% see Cody going, you know what? Elimination Chamber. Let's go, you and me.
I mean, he ain't winning then. You're not beating Cody Rhodes. He beat Cody Rhodes.
I disagree.
Riot.
I disagree.
Really? Okay.
I think John could win that, turn around a week later and drop that title, and nobody cares. It doesn't affect anybody he won that, or that Cody lost.
I mean, that's fair enough. I can't say you're wrong. But okay, I'll let you go ahead and take it from here. We got a big announcement of the location of this year's Royal Rumble.
Every time I think they're going to do something good for women's wrestling, and we've taken a couple of steps forward, they turn around and push us back to 3-minute bra and panty matches. Are you fucking kidding me? We're going to have the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. The one night of the year, the women actually get an hour. This is what we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
I hope they all walk out and jump over the top rope and protest.
I will combat it with this. The last few times we've went over there, we've had good women's wrestling. I think it's fucked up that they have to cover their entire body, and that's not a misogynistic thing. That's not a I like to see their goodies. But they make their gear the way they like it. They make their gear the way they want to present their character, and they have to completely like scrap that to cover themselves to be in a match. I don't think it's going to affect the wrestling. I don't. I think Tripp's at this point where we're going to go over there and we're going to do our show. Because the last few times we've been over there, the women's wrestling's been good. I do think it's a weird choice to give them this big of a pay-per-view. Of course, then again, I'm not the one getting paid billions of dollars to have a show over
You
there,
could have
so.
literally put that pay-per-view almost anywhere short of Russia, Iran, or Mar-a-Lago, and I'd have been much happier with it.
I mean, that's fair enough.
I think this is the biggest slap in the face of the women's division.
I mean, if there's any bright light, it's that if we're going to stream that one, it's going to be like 10 a.m. We can go get some breakfast.
It's like noon.
We can go get some breakfast. We have the entire day left to ourselves.
Right.
We could do.
I just
if Mary works that day, here's what we could do: we can go get some breakfast before the stream starts. We eat breakfast while we're watching Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble's done. We could do like an 8-hour stream. We could turn on Fortnite after the fact. Just play Fortnite the rest of the day.
I'm not doing an 8-hour stream.
Well, then it's playing Fortnite for the last 4 hours of it.
It's fair. We can do that. Wouldn't be that hard to do.
No. But anyway, I trust me, I do feel where you're coming from on it, though. I try to remind myself that I'm not the one running the show, and also Tripp's not the one that wrote the contract. So,
and I'm aware of this.
He's got this contract. He has to adhere to it, because it would cost them, I would assume, a shit ton of money to try to back out of this contract. And then that's the other side of it too. Like if I can put on my show with minimal changes and minimal issues, and they're going to pay me that much money to my company,
how long was that contract?
The contract
when they started
it?
Saudi Arabia? 10 years, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
When was the first show?
Oh, I don't remember. If I remember right, we didn't watch the first Blood Money.
...2018. We got 3 more years of this shit.
Yeah. And that's if they don't re-sign it. I will say
God, I hope not.
I will say we'll say if they re-sign it. I think they need to negotiate, kind of like, and it's apples and oranges, I understand, but to me it's like negotiating with Netflix on, I need y'all not to bleep our stuff. Like, the show happens. If people say something, they say something. We're not TV rated anymore, so stop bleeping our stuff. In the same aspect, look, we're a TV show. We're not going to change our outfits. We're not going to change our program. You get our program as is, and you don't complain about it. And if they can get that approved, perfectly fine with it. Stop making them change their system because you don't like it.
I really hope if they re-sign it, I'm with you. I hope they don't re-sign a long-term deal. You want to go over and do one show a year, whatever. Doing something, if you go to the extent of taking Mania there,
I don't think they'll ever get a Mania. Of course, then again,
I think they get a Royal Rumble.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, then I will also say though, I didn't expect them to get any of the big four, like 2 months ago, and so now they're getting the biggest of the big four.
The second biggest.
To me, the biggest. To me, Royal Rumble is more important than Mania.
That's just our personal flavor, but I'm saying
that's why it's my bucket list, and WrestleMania is not. They may. I don't see it. I'm hoping not. I don't think they would. But that's just me. I guess my main question though is it going to be 2 nights? Because they're talking about making like all of the big ones 2 nights now. Ooh. Could we do that? Could you do 2 nights and do the women's stuff somewhere else?
When you said 2 nights, are we gonna do night 1 there, night 2 here?
That would be kind of cool.
As much as I don't like that, yeah, that'd be pretty solid.
That'd be a way to do it, and not have to fuck.
Do night 1 here and night 2 there. Do night 1 here, Saturday night. So we get done at what, like 11 o'clock? Turn around 12 hours later and do night 2. Yeah,
that's kind of what we're just talking about, Mike. That would be a way you could do it and not have to change the women's stuff so much.
Yeah.
Because you just do the women's Rumble here.
Well, and Punk has said he won't go over there.
He said that before, but so did Sammy.
I guarantee getting Sammy to go took a lot.
Probably.
And I don't just mean money. I guarantee there were some concessions there.
Yeah.
But I hope Punk sticks to his guns and says, I'm not going over there.
Yeah. I think they should abide by that. Like if your talent is not comfortable going over there, okay.
And you shouldn't penalize them for it either.
No, just book around them.
Give them a reason to not be there.
Yeah.
Or do exactly like we're talking about. Do night 1 here or night 1 there, the other night here.
Yeah. And that would be
hold up. You could do night 1 in Saudi Arabia at noon, turn around here 6 hours later, and do night 2.
Tori, sis, I'm not watching an AEW length pay-per-view for WWE. I'm not doing it.
Like watching New Japan, Wrestle Dynasty, and Wrestle Kingdom back to back.
I am still not done with Wrestle Dynasty.
I'm halfway through Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah, no, that shit is long. See, I do too, but at the same time, I have so much beef with us having this contract to begin with.
Yeah.
I had a problem with it when it started in 2018, and it may actually have an extra year because of COVID.
Maybe. So the benefit to it, though, and I think I said this the last time, like before the last Saudi show, there is a lot of talk online, and there's some articles that I've read where the women in Saudi appreciate the show because they get to see something that inspires them.
Right.
And in the last Saudi show, I saw a lot less burqas. I saw a lot more women's faces. So maybe it's making a change. We just talked at the very beginning of it of how wrestling over the years and Triple H's diatribe of like wrestling has changed society and has become part of society and has changed the way things are looked at because of wrestling and what they were doing. Maybe this is making a change over there. So I do agree with that, Mike. I don't know if I want to say, all right, well then we'll take that away from them, because then we may be punishing those women that need to see that representation.
And I understand that, and I don't disagree. I don't know. I have so much beef. I've had beef with this since day one. You and I have been talking about this for 8 years now.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those torn things. Like it's hard to have a solid stance on that particular topic because on one hand it's a good thing, on another hand it's horrible. You know, where do you land on that? But I think we can all agree Hulk Hogan, fuck that guy. But yeah, so yeah, I mean the idea of having one there, one here, maybe that helps fix that situation. No, I do not hope it's in the same night. I do not want to watch 8 hours of wrestling. I love wrestling, I really do. But good lord, that's a lot of wrestling. So
It'd be fun. It'd be fun.
I'd be delirious.
Couple hours. We'll be back in a couple hours, and then do it again. I'm down. That'd be fun.
Okay, fair enough.
Literally in one show, start the pre-show on the other, and let's roll.
What's the point of
Take
even
long
stopping
enough
the
to-
stream at that point then, though? Be like, all right,
I mean, take long enough to go get some food.
order some pizza, we'll be all right. Maybe I'll bring my stuff over there. We'll do that one live.
All right.
I'll have to make a whole new setup. Just making more work for myself. But so overall though, like, what'd you think of the first night on Netflix?
I enjoyed it. I thought there were. It was obviously a different, not TV thing than. It's different than what you get on USA on, you know, any of them we've gotten TNN, Spike, USA, Fox, CW. What am I missing?
TNT?
They weren't on TNT.
Hold on. Yes, they were.
UPN.
No, I'm not thinking.
No, they weren't.
I'm not thinking
TNN.
TNN.
They were on the Nashville network.
Yeah, that's right.
But
acronyms messed up.
it was very different. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It's new. I mean, the ring's different, like we talked about. I didn't hate the ring, but it was different. Like I said, it's an adjustment. The refs were different. I liked it. I didn't notice the refs as much.
Yeah. It was a lot.
I will
easier for
say
them to
I
blend
didn't
in.
notice the refs as much. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. The announce table was a lot different.
Yeah.
Kind of looking like I was looking at some still frames of it, and I'm interested to see if they're going to try to gimmick those. Because if so, that looks like it's going to take a lot of work because of the way they structured them. Okay. I haven't seen that yet, but
Okay.
have him back it up a little bit.
We were just talking about that. I am not.
We are a very mixed opinion. We don't like it. Yeah, that's the biggest part. We don't like it.
I'm not a fan of it. Thanks for joining us. I don't know who you are. It's your first time here. I agree.
Yeah.
Major L. 100%. 100%. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I think it's a kick in the. Yeah. I think it's a giant middle finger in the face of the women's division.
Yeah.
And all those other people that are like, this is not a cool thing. We don't want to go do this.
Yeah. The like Roman didn't want to go at one point. I know Sammy didn't want to go at one point. Punk didn't want to go.
Kevin didn't want to go because of Sammy.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that I wish we knew more about on the back end. Like, if we could know more about the conversations, maybe we'd feel better about it. It is just very, very interesting to have them give them one of the biggest pay-per-views they have. Yeah. Well, and then, like, that's kind of the thing that you also got to keep in mind, though, is that, like, Tripp's running the whole thing himself now. He's going to make
He's dealing with the cards he got dealt.
Well, yes, that, because he didn't sign this contract. So this could have been in there. This could have been in there to begin with of eventually they get one of the big pay-per-views, and he could be just getting it out of the way for all we know. but he's also like he's going to make some left turns. I am definitely not one of those, WWE loyalists that is going to say he's doing everything and it's all gold and da da da. No, he's going to make some left turns. He's going to make some bad choices, and this to me was just one of them. Like if he had any way not to do this, it was a very interesting choice to have them do a Rumble over there. Do some of the B-level pay-per-views, ones that aren't so, I don't know, drenched in tradition. Have them do a Hell in a Cell up there. Have them do
Do
Backlash up
Elimination
there.
Chamber there. They
Elimination
will
Chamber.
they actually like do that to people. So let's just do the match over there too.
Damn.
You're welcome.
Woo!
This picture I just sent you is why I like that ring of screens above the ring.
Okay.
That circle of screens.
Oh, that's gorgeous. I never saw that.
Yes. But that camera shot and what you can get for that.
That's a perfect shot.
Yeah. Survivor Series. That's fine.
That'd have been good. Yeah, because well, I mean, the same difference. You got the War Game stuff going on there, and it's still a big four.
It is. I just see War Games fits too.
We appreciate you.
Loser gets taken out back and shot. I mean, whatever.
God dang.
Look, I'm on fire for this right now. Okay, this might be a Kali level thing at some point soon.
Maybe it's Kick Saudi and the Ding Ding Day, which I'm here for. I'm okay with it.
Doesn't happen near enough, trust me.
But no, yeah, this and then again, like it's the nostalgia side of it. We've mentioned a lot of times on this show, like Royal Rumble is our favorite, even over Mania. So having that one go over there kind of hurts a little more, just because that's my pay-per-view. That's the one I love to watch, and now part of me is going to be hate watching. But you know what, though? I don't like the mac and cheese. I'm going to go eat the prime rib. I'm going to stop bitching about it. So
I don't know who's making your mac and cheese, but
it's the government mac and cheese, man.
look, well, I know we ain't talking bad about Kraft mac and cheese, okay?
No, that ain't the government mac and cheese. Government mac and cheese is that stuff they gave you in school.
Oh, that stuff was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that bean chowder in school was fire though. Back in the day, those bean chowder and cinnamon roll days.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that was
pizza.
The stuff.
Square pizza.
Yes.
Apparently they still do the square pizza. By the way, like everyone's complaining about, like, oh, the square pizza back in the day. Y'all don't. Like, they're still doing that. Just a lot of places now do like Domino's because it's cheaper. I do agree. I think it's definitely more historic. Not that we haven't, like, WrestleMania. Obviously, like that's their big show. There was always the words that like Vince would book his WrestleMania before anything else, and then book backwards, which is why everything until he got old and senile made sense, because it was all leading to WrestleMania being the big card. But I don't know. Like I have more fan mark out moments in my brain because of Mania, or because of Rumble rather than Mania. John Cena
That's
coming
fair.
back like 3 months before he was supposed to, so none of us knew he was coming back.
Yo.
The original incident of both guys going over the rope at the same time. Hogan showing how much of a heel he actually was when he pulled Sid Vicious out, because he was even playing a heel then. No one knew it. But Ric Flair coming in there and winning the world title, his first like official match.
I knew it because fuck Hogan. Yes, 100%. Mania is more historic. Rumble's more popular.
Yeah,
100%.
But I don't know. It's like, I think it's more historic to me than even Mania, just because I remember more moments from Rumble than I do from Mania. And honestly, the thoughts of the moments in Mania that come to mind are usually all the same players too. That's a big difference to me, is that Rumble, aside from a handful of people like Stone Cold won it 3 times, but there's not a lot of repeats. It's someone else was on top.
Austin won 3 times. Michaels won 3 times, but 1 back-to-back.
Yeah, I think so. But it's like AJ debuting there. Even something so silly as Ty Dillinger popping up at number 10, like those moments.
That was
Santino
so
Marella
good.
and the fastest exit, and before that, Butcher Luke. I'm not sure which one, whichever one got thrown out. Like, I think it was Luke, if I remember right.
I'm pretty sure it was Luke.
Getting the tossed out quickest record. As much as you don't like him, Rey Mysterio being the longest in there, going from number 1 and staying in there for an hour and a half.
And he was dead, and Ray was riding his coattails.
I'm gonna get you
Yeah,
on
I
a rant.
said it.
One of these.
I said it. Oh, I said what I said.
He's a deadbeat dad too. We've all seen Dom. Dom ain't Ray's.
No, he's Eddie's. That kid is too much of a heel to be Ray's.
But you think Ray's a heel?
No, I think Ray's a scrub. There's a difference.
Okay, fair enough.
He's hanging out the passenger side because he can't see enough to drive anymore. He's too old.
You know what I find really...
Plus, he can't see over the steering wheel because he's too short.
You know what I find strange about Ray?
That he still wrestles?
He's been doing interviews without the mask. Like, that used to be a big point of contention for him. And I've seen at least 3 interviews today of him without the mask. I wonder what changed his mind on that.
He need to hide that ugly mug. So put the mask back on, bro.
Wow. I love Spicy Tori too. This is all the things I need to clip when we're doing these shows, is just her going off on stuff.
Look. Oh, you trying to get us canceled? Don't post that shit. They want to see that. They want to see that thing to come here. Because don't post that. We ain't trying to get canceled before we get started.
That's what she said. Don't want to see that thing come here. But
wow.
Vince said that. That's why he's in trouble. So here's the thing. I want to throw this out there. And since Mike's in the chat with us, this is something I would love if he wanted to be a guest on the show, and we talk about. I would love to talk about how much of a debacle that was. Not going to the details of like what happened and what he did. This man built up his company for 40 years.
Oh.
To get...
Talk about fumbling the bag.
Yeah, like, Jesus Christ.
This is like, this man said, I've got the NFL. Oh, wait, let me start the XFL because that's a good idea. This man said, oh, what? I have the Shield? I'm going to put the titles on the Bushwhackers. What are you doing?
I don't... To me, it's
this is what happens when I take my B12 late in the day. I get wound up.
With me, it's not even the side hustles. The side hustles, that's a whole other conversation in itself. The XFL,
no,
the
I'm just
WBF,
saying. I'm just saying.
Ico Pro.
You had all of this, and you threw it away for some pussy. I've seen men do some stupid shit for pussy, but dude.
Yeah, it's so strange. But just the idea though, like he thought he had this brilliant plan, right? He's like, I'm gonna sell my company. They're gonna keep me in charge, so I don't got to worry about any of this business stuff anymore. All I got to do is sit here and run it like I have been doing, and everything's fine.
Oh, first of all,
and
hold on.
Fuck him over.
Running it is a very loose term, okay? That shit hadn't been good since 1997. So stop it.
In his brain. But then those people that he sold it to fuck him over and push him out of the company.
For legitimate reason.
For legitimate reasons. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying, like, how messed up is that? That like you got this plan of like I'm gonna make a lot of money. I'm gonna make a lot of money, and I'm not gonna have to do a lot of work. I'm gonna sell off this thing I've been working on, building up for the last 40 years, and then that company pushes you out. Holy cow! And then puts your doofus son-in-law, to coin a phrase from CM Punk, in charge.
Here's the thing.
Holy shit! CM Punk was right. One stage you're going to be too senile, and you're going to head it over to your doofus son-in-law.
Look, we can talk all the mess that we want to about Triple H. You cannot dispute this man's genius about the business.
Yeah, he was on. Go ahead.
He proved from day one of showing up, I'm gonna get with the right people, and I'm gonna learn everything I need to know. And so he rolled around with the Click.
Mm-hmm.
And then he rolled around with Rick. And then he rolled around with Regal and Dusty. And look at him now.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of those that he is constantly looking at a way to better his position and better himself. And so, it's like when Scott Hall would talk about how he was the wheelman, and he was the wheelman because he was the only one that wasn't doing drugs and wasn't drinking. He was straight edge before it was a thing, because he didn't want to fall into those holes. He wanted to get in the best shape that he could, and he wanted to take advantage of all the information he could get. He was on Pat McAfee's show, and they were having a little conversation, and McAfee said something that you could tell hit Tripp really hard, and it was, you need to understand how great of a coach you are. There are people that would run through that wall for you if you said to do it, because that's how good you are. I know you don't know shit about football. Which then he made a joke about football, but that's neither here nor there. But he was basically saying, like, you don't know shit about football, but I guarantee you your team would win because of how good of a coach you are. How good of a leader
100%.
you are.
100%.
So
100%.
He's doing good. I hope he doesn't end up being tied up into some of this stuff, because we still haven't seen it come to pass. We haven't seen everything happen yet. The last I saw, actually, one of the ladies is actually retracting her statement. So I don't know if that was money got paid and settled under the table or what, but
my biggest concern with all of this is that happens and he comes back.
I don't see that.
I hope not. I hope they wouldn't be that stupid, because, again, I will cancel the Netflix subscription like that.
Yeah.
You want to see me become the biggest AEW homer in the world? Let that happen.
Yeah.
Shit, keep bringing Hogan out. You may get that anyway.
He's in bad shape, too. Did you see him hobble out of that entryway?
He looks awful.
Yeah. I mean,
here's the thing. I'm never going to wish.
Say from like here up, he looks in decent shape, but he definitely was like just kind of limping out of there.
Yeah. You're to his comment, everything I've ever seen from anybody talks about how good Triple H is.
Yeah.
Had Vince gotten out of the way a couple of years ago, we'd have been fine.
I think so.
I don't think you would have lost half the talent that you lost. Look at who's come back since Vince left.
I don't think that would have happened just because, like, a lot of people that got let go, and again, we're not in the room, so I don't know those for sure, but a lot of those were Triple H hires. And so it almost seemed like a pissing contest of like, all right, well, you think these people are great. I don't. let's go ahead and get them out and put who I want in charge. Let's give Brock Lesnar his next world title.
I don't need him back either.
But Drew McIntyre has talked about how great he is. Bobby Lashley, even like after leaving, has talked about how good it was with him. He's also talked about how bad it was with Vince without actually name dropping him, but talked about like some of the horrible things that he had to do because he was just told that that's what we're doing.
I look at the people that are now in AEW. FTR was a joke.
Yep.
Hope was not going to get any more TV time. They weren't going to use him. Mox left.
Hold on.
Because he knew he was.
I have to stop you there. I'm not calling him Cope. I'm not doing it.
He actually said in an interview with Renee last year that he was better with it. Whatever. I don't care.
It's fucking Edge. Here's the thing. Here's what I don't understand. I'll let you finish your point.
I'm not someone that can complain about what name they want to go by, okay?
I mean, fair enough. But hold on. I'll let you finish in a minute. Beyonce was the best.
Go ahead, Kanye.
I need a big like burqa or something. I don't know.
Anyway,
whatever he's wearing on his head. Christian leaves, and he can't be Christian, but he can be Christian Cage. You throw the extra little thing on it, it's fine. Why couldn't we be Adam Edge or Edge Copeland or like?
The funny thing is, honestly, I feel like had he said, "I want to keep my name" or tried to register that trademark, I think they would have let him if he'd have done it a long time ago.
Possibly.
But anyway, I don't think so. FTR, Edge. I don't think Moxley would have left. Rusev
definitely wouldn't have left.
Andrade would not have left.
Right. Because he came back specifically
right
because of the situation.
I mean, granted, they've done nothing with him really, but whatever.
They're trying. Here's the thing, like, again, I won't say the Trip is great at everything. There are some things that he still has that old school mentality about, which to me deter things. Like, for instance, you better keep Penta fucking away from both of those Hispanic groups. I don't want him to be any part of this. But that's still that old school mentality of, well, yeah, we have a bunch of Hispanic people. Obviously, like, they would run together, right?
I
mean, you saw it.
The problem is, here's the thing. You're not going to be able to run Penta out there without somebody to translate. Because I'm 99% sure he doesn't speak English.
I don't know that he needs it, though.
Or if he does, no, you cannot be successful without being able to talk to an extent.
I understand I'm towing a very, very thin line when I say this. But Shinsuke. Now. Not Shinsuke 6 months ago. Shinsuke now.
Okay. If we do pre-recorded with Penta, cool. If that's all we're doing with him is pre-recorded, makes sense. But you cannot hand... The problem is Shinsuke speaks perfect English. AJ Styles sold him out for that.
For sure.
You're not wrong. And that one's a hard one for me, just because of who it is. We're not doing this one right now. And I don't say that. I love Brody, and I've gotten to know Amanda. So if I start doing this one, I'm going to cry. So I agree with you. Let me just say that. I agree with you.
I'll just flat out say he would have had a world title, I think. I think if
100%.
If we were doing that run with him, Randy, and Bray that we were doing there, and Tripp was in charge, we would have walked away with Luke winning that, I think. But That's just because of the way I see his brain works.
I think Bray would have been handled much better too.
That's
another one that would have been so much better. Ricochet wouldn't have left because he'd have been handled right. I mean, Tripp couldn't do anything here, and I say that because
it's hard to rebuild Ricochet after that.
After everything they now, I will tell you, him attacking Swerve with scissors on Wednesday was amazing.
The American Psycho of that situation.
Give me that guy.
Yeah.
Him in Japan, he looked incredible with Zack Sabre.
Yeah. Well, and that's so like him wrestling's never been the problem. It's they've never known what to do with him personality wise. I think he's got it now. I think he's got something that he can latch onto and work with.
I feel like had you done it right, had he not been the character that he was, had you gotten the character that he is now while he was there, you could have easily transitioned Samantha from ring announcer to manager.
Or at least part of the story.
Yep.
You got him going crazy.
Logan, they started it with Logan. I don't know why they didn't keep that going. I'm just saying, I'm willing to bet that, and I'm not going to say all of them because some of them just wanted something to do.
Yeah.
But he wanted something more. Malachi, again, he wouldn't have left. There's not a chance he would have left.
No, he was a Tripp guy. They called him and there was
he would have gotten them to bring Brody in.
Yeah,
they'd have brought Brody King in for Malachi.
They did a couple of stories around the time that happened, and valid or not, talking about how Malachi got brought up to prove Tripp wrong. Because he was a guy he was hanging NXT on. This is a guy that we're going to put this promotion over. And Vince said, no, you can't, like, he's not main roster talent. Yep. He would have been good in Hurt Business at the time. Here's the thing. To agree with him, and I get where you're going. To agree with him, that story that they were telling would have ended with Ricochet taking the spot. That they would have kicked Cedric out.
Yeah.
Ricochet takes the spot.
Cedric is a much better face than a heel.
Yeah.
He's a much better face than heel.
Yeah. Well, and him being the underdog and him like having to find people to help him out to like overcome this, and like the story would have wrote itself. But again, it's like just a lot of the stories that happened when Vince was in charge is like we got to 10 yards to the goal line, we got to the red zone, and then we just fucking dropped the ball every time and never finished it. Like, and that was one of those of like they were telling this great story of like Ricochet wanted in, they kind of wanted Ricochet. Seti was fighting with him internally, and then we just kind of dropped that story altogether.
Yeah, and I think that just goes back to bad booking.
Well,
obviously, we know Vince is a racist. He's a piece of shit too.
Well, and the racism aside on that one though, like it's easy to say because again, it's look, there's a bunch of black people. Let's put all the black people together, right? Like that, they would all be in the same hood, right? Side note: if you haven't seen it, D'Lo's got a YouTube series. He had Stevie on there, and they talked about the most racist things that happened in WWE.
Stevie Ray or Big Stevie Cool?
Big Stevie Cool.
Oh God!
The very first clip that they showed was Vince in the backstage dropping the N-bomb. Like that's the very first one they showed and talked about it. You should watch that. It's fun.
I need Booker to come out and talk to Hogan like he did in the 90s.
They brought up that one too, by the way. That was like the last one they brought up. But so the racism of it aside, though, like it just fascinates me that Like, we have something that would be a makings of a good story, and just we never could finish it. And it was obvious that towards the end of Vince's tenure, like, he was losing his faculties. They even talked about in the back of, like, the reason we were putting, like, the same match on for 3 weeks in a row because he forgot that
Then
we
forgot
booked
he
it 2
had
weeks
it.
ago.
Yeah, the number of things that would be different had Vince given up the reins and gotten the hell out of the way is incredible.
Yeah. But, you know what? Just to kind of close this out, because we're getting up to like 10 o'clock now. As long as we went in a while. Que sera, sera. Because if Tripp would have took over earlier, how would have AEW would have performed in its early years against that? Would we be where we are now with, mind you, AEW is not a threat, quote unquote, to WWE, but they're still in a good standing. Like, they are in a way, they're in a place where they could salvage what they're doing and make good money and be a viable second product. Would they still be there if Tripp was in charge at that time? Because then does Jericho leave to start it off? Do they get Cody? Like, a lot of these dominoes that are falling at that time, at that perfect moment, do those happen? Which that's a dream scenario
That's
in
fair.
itself of, like,
That's, you could argue a lot of that. Like, does Tripp see what Cody did in Japan and go, let's go get him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then, like, with the things he's talking about, because, you know, depending on who you believe on it, there's a lot of people that say that was Cody was the one that was actually, like, talking about it before they made AEW.
That's exactly it. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I think Omega gets a shot. I think we get some of those matches that we always wanted.
Yeah.
I think the Bucks get a shot, because why not?
Yeah.
What's the worst that happens? You don't like them and you release them?
Yeah. Like, could you imagine?
I think it may have still happened.
Personal favorite of mine, personal favorite of yours. Can you imagine Private Party with the WWE behind them? Like, just
love some Private Party.
Those boys. Of course, he's failed on Street Profits so many times, but that's neither here nor there.
Look, the best thing Montez and Angelo can do is dip. Can you imagine? Can you imagine them in AEW's tag team division? Can you imagine them in New Japan's tag team division?
I think they are there in the same situation that Ricochet was in. Too much has been done. It's hard.
You can't walk it back.
The only thing they could do at this point, I think, to walk it back is do the split.
If you do the split, I don't even want a New Day. I want to look, bro. We're obviously getting nowhere. Yo, that would be so good.
It would be.
I don't want Private Party I don't want the Street Profits to split because one of them turns. I want it to be a look. This isn't going where we want it to right now.
This ain't working no more.
So here's what we need to do. I've had an offer to go to this show, and you stay here. But if you'd rather, I will stay here and you can go there. It doesn't matter where you put Montez and Angelo. You can put either one of them into your mid-card picture immediately.
I like that. I'm gonna tweak it just a little bit. Have Montez get the offer. Not tell Dawkins, because he's going to stay with Dawkins. He's got his back. He's going to stay here. But Dawkins finds out from somebody.
Ooh.
And so then, like, he has to have that conversation with Montez of, like, look, I know you're staying here because of this, but, like, I've got this. You go do you.
That'd be solid. But I'm telling you right now, you could put Dawkins and Montez both
Easily
into
in
either
mid-card for now.
title program to start with. Montez is the world champion. He has world champion written all over him.
Yeah.
Dawkins has IC workhorse title written all over him.
Absolutely.
Give me Dawkins in a feud with Braun Breaker.
Especially with that spear, like, because I could see him coming around with that like running spear around the ring, and he pounces him out of the way. Oof, that'd be good.
I'm telling you, this split needs to happen, but in the most peaceful way possible. I don't need a barbershop. I don't need a New Day. I don't need any of that. I need a look. This is not working.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We're at 9:54. We've been going at this for almost 2 hours now. Longest stream we've had in a while. Big Mike, thank you for being here. Thank you everybody that joined. Before we go though, I have to say, just because like we're on a new channel, we're on a new show.
Ooh. I like that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Have him dip back to
Ooh.
NXT.
Give me Dawkins and Obafemi.
Give
That
me
would
like 90% of the roster in Obafemi.
That would cook.
That man is better than
Give
he
me
needs to be.
Dawkins. Give me Dawkins and Ethan Page.
Yeah.
Trick's coming up at the Rumble. Trick's coming up.
Yeah.
That's all there is to
Has
it.
to be. But all right, so we're on a new channel, we're on a new space, we're streaming now on Netflix, so that means we also have to unfortunately change the show that comes on after us. So after us, an unexpected opportunity results in Mike Ross, who doesn't actually have a law degree, becoming a new associate at a Manhattan law firm. Next on Suits. Stay tuned.
I can't stand you.
Anyway.
Okay, to be clear, I love that show.
It's a great show. It's coming.
Love
it's coming back.
Suits.
I'm intrigued to see what happens with this new one, because
Suits LA.
Yeah.
I'm not excited about it at all.
Well,
because neither one of those two is going to be on it.
See, but I've seen promo stuff that has at least Mike. I've seen Mike and some stuff.
If he's there, it's a pop in. No,
handing it over type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll give it a shot. Like I watched like 5 different versions of NCIS. I might as well watch 2 versions. Of Suits.
I can't stand you.
But anyway, thanks for joining us today on the stream. Don't forget to follow us on socials. Turn on your notifications so you know when we're here. Remember, pro wrestling's for everyone. Let's keep supporting each other and building an awesome community together. Until next time, this is Tori. I'm Mike. And we will catch you.
Hey, you got the point right this time.
I did. You didn't see it, but it was because I kind of cheated a little. And I was like, I saw that. All right, that way.
I can't tell you how many times I've done this and gone this way, and I'll go, wait, it's this way.
It's that way.
So
we will catch you on the next one. Bye.
Here's the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at 2.
Oh my God.